Welcome to Bassmaster Fishing 2022. I think it's episode 26, but it's a special episode. And this is probably my single favorite lake in the game. Although I've said it was Sabine before. Guys, I have to say that this one here, okay? Lake Seminole, I know a lot of you probably hate Lake Seminole. But, when I first started studying the maps of Bassmaster to compete in the online open, I found very little on this lake. I'll show you my best hotspots right now. And that's where I'll be fishing for an hour. But I know Seminole is hated. Some of the best players in the world will not even enter this tournament because it's so disappointing for them. I got the Inferno boat, the Seminole jersey, and the Seminole hat. Some of the best players in the world will not enter this tournament. And I'm going to help you with that. I found two highly productive spots where you can catch 15s and 16s and high 14s in 1 hour and you get a giant bag. I'll take you to the spot I found first, and then I'll take you to the spot I found second. They're only about 100 feet away from each other. All right, well, maybe less than 100 feet. Okay, so you see on my map where I'm going. I'm off to the left here. You cut through this island chain here. And I have some hotspots videos about these spots, but they are such a joy to fish in free fishing. And it'll make a great show for my Bassmaster YouTube channel. Okay, you see this peninsula I'm pulling up to? This is spot one. This is the spot I found first. Only I was set up over there, kind of like pitching directly onto that point. But I found later on that when you set up over here, kind of close enough to kind of medium pitch in here, in this area, you'll catch a legendary largemouth bass and like many 15s, 14s and 15s. So let's see if there's any right off the bat here. Oh, it's 70-degree weather. And as with all of the greatest spots in Bassmaster, sometimes it can take like a minute or two for the spot to really, kind of get busy, get active. And it seems like that's the situation right now. I like to get kind of close here because I also like pitching down here, kind of like equal with where my hat is. Kind of down on the bank a ways. I caught woodruff in here during the online open. You get super heavyweight largemouth bass in here. Now, I have set up directly on this point before, and all you get is smaller largemouth bass, like millions of them, but they're all like small. It's not until you get to the right side of this point that things get pretty serious as far as the size and the quality of the largemouth bass. It's when you pitch on the right side of this tree and kind of set up where I am here. There's a heavyweight in there now. All right, he's coming over. He turned away. He's kind of like right in here. This isn't a really big guy. It's not the one I was looking for. But I won the tournament here and at spot 2, which I'll show you in the second 30 minutes. I'll show you how I set up on it to win the Seminole Online Open. I mean, I didn't officially win. There was another guy that got first. I got second. But the only reason he got first is because he entered 3 different times. And it took him 3 different tries to actually take first place from my 1 try. So I do feel like I did win that tournament, but it's no biggie, you know. It's just a game, and I'm sure he just wanted to play a little more than just the 12 hours we get for each month in the online open. I don't really begrudge him that. I mean, I do think it's cheating, but you know, like I'm actually friends with the guy on Xbox, and I'm not gonna, like, you know, jeopardize our friendship or say anything, because, you know, friendship's more important than some silly game, you know, and it's really no big deal. I'm sure he feels like he got first, and I feel like I got first, and, you know, there's no point in arguing about it. So it is what it is. But guys, I think once you, like, get some, like, highly productive spots on Seminole, you will warm up to it. You will begin to love it. And you'll see that there are some highly reliable spots on Lake Seminole that you can absolutely depend upon for a giant bag in 1 hour. And it's a pig.
What do you got?
A 14.5, not a bad first largemouth bass. Guys, that was the first largemouth bass. Or no, that was the second I actually caught. Some slob 14.5. But I decided to tell my viewers here during my episode why I named my YouTube channel Legendary Image. Well, the legendary is pretty self-evident. You know, it's a Bassmaster word. Legendary is just in respect of all the effort and the hard work it took for Dovetail Games to put all the legendary fish together and give them all their own special look and shape and colors and everything. And I think it's the best bass game ever made in that way. Like, as far as creativity, you know, I mean, it's hard to beat Bassmaster for a bass game. The way they made all the legendary bass look, gave them all their own special looks and colors and shapes and everything. But the image, the legendary image, the image word, that's from a business. That's from a company that, well, my dad started, and when he died, my brother, my mother, and me took over. And he just ran, you know, a medium small business cleaning company. But when he died, it was like my mother's only source of income was, you know, the business. And my brother and I decided to revive my dad's dying company. I mean, at that point, you know, without him, his business was dying. And it wouldn't have survived if it wasn't for my brother, mostly my brother. He graduated with a degree in a bachelor's degree in mathematics and in biology from Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. And he was married. He had 2 children, 2 little girls. And we ran that company. We called it Image. And it was my dad's name. He said, well, if I could ever rename my company, his company was called JL Building Maintenance. His name was James Land. And he said, well, if I ever got to rename my business, I'd call it Image. So when my brother asked me if I had any ideas for our company, I said, well, my dad would have called it Image. And so we called it Image by J and K, James and Kevin. My name's Kevin. My brother's name was James. And we called it Image by J and K, LLC. And it was just a cleaning company, you know, kind of strip wax floors and burnish and buff wax floors and like deep scrub wax floors and wax them and everything. And we had like full areas of Walgreens. It's my show. So that's what Legendary Image, that's why we called it, that's why I called it Legendary Image. Since then, my brother's passed away, leaving 2 little girls and a widow. And he was about 34 when he died. He lost everything. He lost his business. He lost his wife and children. And he lost himself. But I'll never forget my brother. And he was the best employer I ever had, best partner I ever had. And he treated me better than any employer I'd ever had. And that company Image was the best thing that ever happened to me. I was working at fast food restaurants, barely getting by, struggling to pay my bills, and I couldn't even live on my own. I had to live with my parents. And it's all thanks to my brother and his hard work, and my mom. And really all of us together. And to me, that's what Image stands for. It stands for family and togetherness and cooperation and love for each other. And that's why it's Legendary Image, guys. I was raised Christian and Baptist. And Image is kind of a Bible name, you know. Jesus is the image of the invisible God in Christianity. He is God. And I think that's one of the reasons my dad wanted to call his business Image. But he didn't live long enough to change the name. But I was born into a Christian family. I was raised in the Baptist church, rural Pennsylvania, for about 20 years. Until I moved to Virginia. I spent the last 20 plus years here in central Virginia, central western Virginia. I'm not deeply religious. I don't consider myself a very, very religious, Bible thumper kind of person. Like in your face, get born again today or go to hell kind of person. But I do believe the Bible. And I believe every single word of the Bible is inspired. It's God breathed. It's God's mind. And it's what he has to say to each and every one of us. But there's a sense in which I also think we can all hear God speak if we're just quiet enough to listen, But if you have any questions, go to the Bible. That's what it's there for, to reprove, rebuke, exhort, guide, direct, give us all encouragement in those extremely difficult moments of life through pain and discouragement, loss. Bible is, it's a great anchor and a great connection straight to the mind and the heart of God. To us, it's a love letter to us. To us, his creatures, and his sons and daughters.
That right there is a Bassmaster.
But this is not a religious show. This is a Bassmaster show. It's just I thought that maybe in one of my videos I should explain why I called my YouTube channel Legendary Image.
That right there is a Bassmaster.
And the image part really is comes out of a Bible verse. Jesus is the image of the invisible God. That's what I believe, guys. That's what all my hope is that Jesus is God, because he was a very merciful, empathetic, sympathetic man of God. God's son, born of a virgin, for us, so that we could have a direct connection to God the Father, even though we're physical beings and he is not physical. Now we can see him physically in Jesus. Listen to what he has to say. And try to do everything he tells us to do. And one of the reasons I love Jesus is because his commandment is simple. It's not easy, but his number one commandment is just to love one another. A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another. That's the law of Jesus. And I can dig that, I can understand that, And if there's a God, that's what he must be like. He gave us all creation to help us live, to love us. He gave us animals, water, and forests, birds of the air, and fish in the sea, all to take care of us. He's all about love. That's obvious. So it shouldn't be asking too much that, we love each other. That's not too hard for anyone to understand. We can all agree and understand that.
That right there is a Bassmaster.
Well, it's not a day of very giant bass here. I admit that, guys. A little early, guys. I'm going to move over to spot 2. And for some of you that are very anti-religious or non-religious, I do apologize. This is not a show about religion and my personal fancies of, being close to God and being very religious and That's not what this show is about. This is a Bassmaster show. Okay, this is spot 2. You see where I went to here on the map where this is? Oh, the map doesn't really show it correctly. There's where I am on the little map. This here is a major hotspot. I use this spot here to help me win the Seminole Online Open. It's full of super heavyweight trophy largemouth bass. This is a spot that I rely on when the other spot is not giving me giant super heavyweight trophies. I come over here. Looks like they're all over kind of like to the right now. And right away I get a trophy largemouth bass with a heartbeat.
There has been a bass sighting.
So what's your favorite lake, guys? Seminole is at least one of my favorites. Because I did so well in the tournament, that's probably one of the reasons. But I've spent more time playing on Seminole in my spare time, my free time, than probably any other single lake. I haven't checked in a while. I have to check the statistics.
What do you got?
I'm not sure what my number one lake is right now. All right, guys. Now, that's not normally how I set up on that spot. This is how I found the spot. I started fishing like this. But I admit, like, it's a very strange day and that, like, I have not caught one single 15 or 16 today, but don't let that fool you guys. You can, during the tournament, you will catch them here. And I found that when one of these spots is off, the other one will often be on. Wow, this is really kind of like a lot calmer than usual in here. But I think that's related to the weather. I mean, the temperature mainly. Like on certain days, it'll be really, really busy and really, really hot, you know. Then on other days,
I'm not gonna set any records with that
you know, the biggest bass you'll catch in here will maybe be a 14.
Cha-ching.
But don't let that fool you. These are spots that you can pick up 15s, 16s, and legendary largemouth bass. All in an hour, you can max out your bag on these spots. Wow, man, it is really barren in there. It's never like this. Okay, so it's just going to be one of those days, guys. Clearly, even on my first spot, which is, in my opinion, the best spot on Seminole. It's so reliable. It's so good. this is how I fished the tournament. Only I would caution you, like, if you're using constant retrieve, that you might consider, like during the tournament at least, to use stop and go instead. Like during free fishing, constant retrieve works fine, but in a tournament, you'll see that like constant will fail. Like it will let you down, and like you'll attract these giant bass, but they won't bite. And it's all thanks to constant. And if you use stop and go, you will catch those fish. Wow, if you see this episode, you're going to think, oh, these are totally, normal kind of spots without, a ton of trophy bass. But I won on these spots. This is a big one. He was right by the bank on the right side of that point. Oh, guys, feel free. Like, if you have a denomination of Christianity, or you grew up anti-religious or atheist or something, put it in the comments. And I mean, I don't want this to be like one kind of me just telling you all about what I believe. If you want to share how you grew up, yeah.
I'm gonna have a few competitors trembling with that too.
You're more than welcome to share, what your personal beliefs are with me. It's just, it is my YouTube channel, and I fish for like an hour, so it's like, what am I going to talk about? Well, I could talk about the name of my YouTube channel and why I called it what I did, and that's partly religious, guys. I mean, it is what it is. Like, some people don't like discussing religion, and I understand that. It can be divisive and it can be controversial. But it is partly how I named my YouTube channel.
Not gonna set any limits with that one, but it's a solid keeper. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
And I don't think I'm some good person, like some really great person. And to be honest, guys, when I die, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm just really hoping that God isn't too mad at me, like I'm really hoping that he still sees me after all this, he still sees me as one of his children, on his team, on his side, and his friend, and not, an enemy, because I think everybody commits a lot of indiscretions and a lot of sins, and everybody makes a lot of mistakes. Before it's over, we're all going to be very humiliated, and we're all going to want God's mercy, and his friendship, and his approval and everything. And but I certainly don't think that I'm any better than anybody else. That's for sure. If anything, I need more forgiveness and more mercy from the hand of God than just about anybody I know. When I was younger, I lived a very profligate, prodigal kind of lifestyle, and even to this day, I have like hang-ups and addictions, and just problems, just things that I'm sure God wouldn't be very happy with. And I'm just counting on his grace, on his mercy, on his goodness, to kind of like blot all my transgressions out in the end. And for his friendship, ultimately. And that is what the Bible teaches, that God is that kind of God. He's that good, that he can forgive and he can show mercy, and that he will be our friend. And more than that, the Bible calls him the friend that sticketh closer than a brother. He's a great friend. Okay, so this is my second pig. Yes, sir. That will be a gigantic Seminole beast.
Somebody caught a toe.
A 16. So now I have a 15 something and a 15-14, a 16 and a 15. It took a little while coming though, but it came. And we're only at 11 o'clock. So let's see what our 5 biggest fish are in 1 full hour of fishing this spot. For the super heavyweight trophies of Seminole, Lake Seminole. What's your philosophy of existence, and what do you believe about the world and about the universe and the cosmos? Do you believe in God, or do you believe that we're all just kind of evolved creatures from from the dirt and from the dust and from tadpoles to human beings with minds, and uh, put it in the comments. What do you think about? What's your philosophy of life? And existence. What's going on here? What do you think?
Flippity flopper, what do you got?
It's just, this isn't, it's not an anti-religious channel. Okay? Like, you're more than welcome to share whatever religion and background you've come from. If you're from the Far East and you grew up a Buddhist, okay? Or you grew up in some other part of the world where you were taught, a different religion from Christianity. Here in America, I mean, Christianity is like pop culture. And it's very common. It's like the religion that America was founded on. It was basically founded on Christian principles. And our government was like full of mostly Christian representatives. And I mean, at one point, it seemed like everyone in the country was Christian. I understand that. It's just very popular to say, I'm a religious Christian. I'm a follower. I'm a disciple of Jesus.
That right there is a Bassmaster.
I read my Bible. I pray. I worship Jesus as God himself. And in the Bible, he's called the Son of God. But Christians really, honestly, it's almost like kind of a difficult name for him because, like, Christians really believe that he is God. Like, and that's one of the problems, like, one of the differences between, like, real simple, basic Christianity and, like, some other denominations that claim to believe the same things is that, classic old school Christians believe that Jesus is God. He's God's son, but he's as much God as God himself. That's why, like, reading the Bible is seen to be such an important part of the Christian life and the Christian walk. Because, we're not just going to a preaching service when we read the Sermon on the Mount. We believe we're hearing the words of God himself, God in human flesh. To us, he's not just a preacher. He's God. And so that's at least what Christians think. That's what we believe. How did you grow up? What philosophy were you taught?
You have caught an absolute hydrilla gorilla.
I mean, I grew up with the Bible, okay? Like, and I was fed it with my mother's milk as early as I can remember having a mind. I was memorizing Bible verses, going to Sunday school, and going to, like, Christian school. So, I mean, but I believe it these days. I'm 43 now. I believe Christianity for myself. And to me, like, one of the most undeniable parts of the Bible is, like, the great worldwide flood. And so many people want to, like, deny that and say that the fossil record is proof of millions and millions of years. But what I believe is that the fossil record is proof of a global worldwide catastrophe that was brought on by God himself. God restarted the world by bringing a flood of water and killing everything except one family, Noah's family. And I always wondered, like, how anyone could honestly deny that the flood actually took place. With, like, 80% of the world right now, the surface of the earth, being covered by water to this day. I mean, the vast majority of this whole earth is oceans. I mean, it's like the flood is kind of still here, and
Big fish, big fish.
I always wonder why people say, well, there's no evidence for God or his works or anything. There's no evidence for that. Well, I just kind of disagree. I mean, just look at the surface of the earth, and you can see that the biblical flood clearly did take place. I mean, the fossil record is just full of animals and creatures and plants and everything that was, like, forced into being fossilized by pressures of water. I mean, great pressures of water. And I mean, I think that is so obvious that it's, like, it's very hard to deny for me that the fossil record is proof of the Great Flood. And then not only that, but we have the whole surface of the earth is still covered in water, like oceans, salt water to this day. So the flood's still here, and yet so many people deny the God of the Bible. And, the miracles in the Bible, I always felt like, well, if you can believe that God will bring a flood, then you could believe he could heal a blind man. You know, I mean,
But at least
the
it's a
miracles in the
good,
Bible
solid
are not
keeper.
so hard to believe when you realize that the whole earth is a miracle. That human life is a miracle. That plant and animal life is a miracle. That none of this should really exist. And the chances of it existing without some kind of like creator are nil. This just couldn't happen, guys. It just couldn't happen like on its own. And that's so obvious, so evident, very clear. And I think there is like plenty of evidence for the biblical flood. There's plenty of evidence for it. The whole fossil record, the water being on the surface of the earth to this day, and so much of it, it's hard to deny. And if you can believe a God that has that kind of power, then you can believe that he could heal a blind man or heal an invalid or perform some miracle in the Bible. And that's not so hard to believe. I mean, a supreme being, could do anything, could bring life into existence where there was nothing, nothing. I could believe that. But it's like popular culture in America, man. If you're not Christian, man, and you're in America, you're just not cool, you know? And I understand that. It's like pop culture these days, and people think they deserve a trophy or a gold medal for saying I'm a Christian, I believe in Jesus and everything. And it's almost like some of them are a little stuck up and a little conceited. And that way, they're kind of a little bit hypocritical, And I understand that whole way of thinking. But to me, Christianity is more than just like judging each other. There's so much in the Bible, especially the New Testament, that's worth looking into, that's worth taking, personally and seriously. And I mean, at least the words of Jesus, I mean, at least if you don't read anything else in the Bible, you gotta read like the red letters, You gotta read the red letters, especially in like really dark, difficult times of uncertainty and or pain and suffering and confusion and any hard time. But in the good times too, but especially in the hard times, we all need encouragement,
Not gonna set any
hope,
records with that
and
one, but at least it's a good, solid keeper.
to me, that's what Christianity really is. It is the greatest hope of all mankind, the greatest story ever told. The story of God in the flesh, God coming down, what he did and what happened to him, why. It's all for us, not for just some preachers on Sunday morning, but we could all benefit by knowing the story of Jesus, listening to what he has to say to each one of us. Yeah, normally I don't get into religion on my channel, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized, well, it wouldn't be very evangelical of me to put together a channel that's 40 hours long and never mention the name of Jesus once, you know, and I claim to trust him as God, you know. So I probably should put it on my channel at least once so people know where I stand and what I think about the
Look at a
world,
setting
the
that needs a
universe,
background. But it's a solid
life,
keeper.
existence,
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
and God and his whole personality, his whole personhood, his existence. In the end, I just hope that he's as merciful as Christians and everybody's always saying he is. And I get another, this is a big largemouth. That is a giant. Oh no!
Oh, that is Shack Daddy's
They
Superman.
always fool you in Bassmaster here, and you think you got a 16 pounder and it's like a 12. Just a big fish, but on Seminole, I mean, a really big bass is like 16 pounds. Or a big 15, like a 15-10 or something. Yeah, I used to watch debates between like college professors, like Christian college professors, and you know, like public secular college professors, and they would debate the existence of God and evolution and the fossil record, and I mean, they you name it. Religious people and non-religious people, they disagree on absolutely everything, just about
Flippity flop, I'm
morality,
loving this, son.
ethics, God, the world, government, philosophy, religion, you name it. Religious and non-religious people disagree about everything. It's a wonder they get along at all. And often they don't, but sometimes they do. And that's up to each of us, you know, to get along with each other. I mean, no matter what you believe, well,
Not
no
gonna
matter
say
what
he's
your
perfect,
philosophy of
but it's a solid
life and
keeper.
death and
Cha-ching,
God
cha-ching.
and the world is, you know, it's up to each of us to at least have respect for each other, you know, and respect one another's opinions and respect each other as, you know, as being no better than each other, really. No matter what we believe, we're all human beings. We're all equally human. And that's why my channel is called Legendary Image. Image was a business that my brother and my mother and I founded after my dad's death. And it meant the world to me. It changed my life. I even eventually got some big paychecks from that company. I mean, big to me. For some people, they wouldn't have been that big, but it was more money than I ever saw just for being a partner in a business. And it was just a blessing. Image was a blessing in my life. It changed my life for the better. Changed my life forever. I went from working at really, really hard jobs where I didn't get enough hours, and I got all the worst hours, and I didn't get a really good rate of pay, and it was just a really hard time in my life. And that's when Image happened. My dad died, and
Big
my
fishing,
mom and brother
no
and
whammy.
I started Image. And we just started cleaning Walgreens and waxing Walgreens and stripping and buffing. And we eventually had stores in Alaska and all up and down the east coast of the United States. And our company was actually getting rather sizable. That's when I got those checks from my brother. Just after that, he passed away. One of the saddest moments of my entire life. When my dad died and when my brother died. I know what it's like to be disappointed and to be sad and miss a loved one. And there's nothing harder in life than losing someone you really came to depend upon and rely on, and someone you really loved. Well, trophy bass. I only got a couple giants today. Try it out in the tournament, though, guys. Try these spots out. And when one goes cold, try the other one. In my opinion, these are some of the most reliable spots on all of Seminole.
You have caught an absolutely
For
dreadful
maximum
fish.
bags in 60 minutes.
It's Chubasa.
Oh boy. Hello. A really big largemouth bass. Really big. They come.
Yes.
Oh no, I got fooled again.
That's a little too lenient.
That's funny. I got tricked again. Well, there's 5 minutes left of my video. I believe I'll end it here. Thanks for watching this special episode of Lake Seminole, and I hope you warm up to Seminole and realize that Seminole here is one of the most beautiful, special lakes in this entire game. It's phenomenal. And yeah, a lot of the best players in the world, they really struggle here. But these spots are reliable and they will help you enjoy Seminole more. And I hope you do. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.